Hello everyone. This is Jotto, bringing you not a Hearthstone weekly. There was no tournament this weekend. That's next weekend, so I didn't have anything to do. Seriously guys, nothing for me to make? Okay. I guess I'll go over the patch notes that were released on Hearthstone a couple of days ago. Some other people have beaten me to the chase here, but I'd rather do some playtesting on the cards before talking about them, because I don't want to speculate. I want to give you guys the cold hard facts of what things are going to do. So, let's get started. Now, Abusive Sergeant. It's now a 2-1 instead of a 1-1. It's a buff to a 1-drop. I'm not complaining. 1-drops were kind of meaningless. Sure, let's have our Abusive Sergeant be a 2-1. It's now semi-playable. Captain's Parrot, you can get it more easily in-game. Doesn't affect us now. Gorehound. Health increased from 4 to 5. Still not playable. Doesn't have an ability. Doesn't have enough health for a 7-drop. Good and Forge now. Cult Master. Now, Cult Master got nerfed. Its numbers got switched from 3-4 to 4-3. People are like, oh, it's more offensive now. No. It dies to AoE better now. It's much better. That dying, instead of staying alive, which is what you want it to do. It draws you less cards now. It's an overall nerf. Still playable, but a nerf. Spiteful Smith. A replacement to Dark Summoner, which was a 5-mana, 5-3 that was Pint-sized Summoner, but for 3 mana instead. It reduced the next minion... It reduced the first minion you cast at the beginning of every turn by 3. Now, it's been replaced by another 5-drop, the Spiteful Smith. 4-6 of 5, Enrage, your weapon gains +2. Two things you gotta think about this. 1, if it's silenced, you lose the +2. 2, if it dies, you lose the +2. 3, this thing with Doomhammer is ridiculous. And same with like Gorehowl, it gives you 2 extra attacks. It's pretty insane. Debug, Festering Pestilence, this is just new stuff. Flame of Azzinoth, these are the tokens summoned by Illidan, the new Illidan I already talked about. In the weekly, summons a 2-1 every time you play a card, 7-6 for 6. It's amazing. Guys, play this card, seriously. Too good. Imp Master got nerfed to a 1-5 from a 1-6. This makes me sad because I was a tokens player. Oh well, he's now conceivable instead of completely broken. Still worth playing. Jadefire. Satyr got changed to Stranglehorn Tiger. They look identical and then you realize that one of them is a beast. That means that he is effectively more powerful in Hunter decks. That's the only change. Knife Juggler. It now says summon. We already knew about this, which makes it insane, but a 3-2 instead of a 2-3, I prefer the 2-3 because it doesn't die to all the AoE, and it doesn't die to Spirit Wolves and other 2-drops. Oh well, it's a nerf. Still playable, but a nerf. Leper Gnome, one of the best, most efficient 1-drops in the game now. Does effectively 4 damage guaranteed, worth playing in 1-drop decks. Lord of the Arena, 6-5 with Taunt. That was necessary, because it was a 6-4 with Taunt, and it was a 6-mana card being outclassed by Senjin Shieldmaster. Really? Okay, it's still not better, but it's good. Lore Cho is fairly insane now. This image is incorrect. It's 2 mana, 2-4. If you look at the notes, now it's 2 attack, a 2-4 for 2? Yes please. Instead of a 1-4? Yeah, that's a big buff, let's be honest here, and that's pretty insane now. Its ability is also crazy. Mana Addict, the only nerf on this card was the increase against from spells was reduced by 1. This is pretty big, because although it still kills Cult Master with 1 boost, which is kind of important. The HP numbers were lowered in general on minions, which means that Mana Addict will still kill minions, just won't flat out kill players instantly now. Mana Wraith. This goes against what I just said. It's one of the only cards which got its health increased and its attack decreased. Mana Wraith was supposed to be utility. It's supposed to be a wall that you have to focus. It's a 1-3 now instead of a 2-2, which makes it more of a wall. Thank you. Master Swordsmith, directly nerfed. Yeah, because a 2-3 with that ability was totally necessary. No, it's a 1-3 now. What's the point of that? Because in aggro decks you want to be playing 3-2s instead. So the fact that you lose 2 turns of attack instead of 1 turn of attack and being able to increase it means Swordsmith will break even as opposed to doing anything crazy. It's still better with Wind Fury though, so still a pretty good card. Mind Control Tech, we already knew about this card. Tide Caller, played instead of summoned. That means if you play Tide Hunter, summons 2 Murlocs, so you get a 3-2 Tide Caller on turn 2. Not bad, not bad. Murloc War Leader. Small buffs to Warlocks all around really. +2/+1 instead of +1/+1. Sure, Murlocs can kill you faster now. They're still just as vulnerable to board wipe and silence as they always were. Which makes them okay. Nat Pagel, why was this nerfed? No, really. Crazed Alchemist is becoming more popular by the second. Silence is becoming more popular by the second. It wasn't played to begin with. Okay, sure, nerf Nat Pagel. No one was playing him anyway. Doesn't do anything. Old Murkai just changed so he's easier to get. Anixia, disgusting token generator. The hype on this card has gone down a bit recently because of Illidan's dominance and some of the other legendaries like Alexstrasza coming back into the format. Bolterizer, okay, this is a nerf to Geblin. Geblin was insane. He summoned a random invention. 2 of them were terrible, 2 of them were ridiculous. The ridiculous ones were Polterizer, which used to say enemy. Nope, it says anything. It can turn itself into a chicken, it can turn the Geblin into a chicken. Yeah. Repair Bot was crazy. As soon as you rolled the Repair Bot, you couldn't kill the guy, because it heals everything, and you have to do 5 damage to the Repair Bot just to kill it. It's ridiculous. Now it heals both sides, so you end up with a weird stalemate. Secret Keeper is now far better than it used to be. It's now a 1-2 instead of 2-1, so it doesn't die as easily, but more importantly, it's played, not revealed. So, take a Paladin. Turn 1 Secret Keeper, turn 2 Secret Keeper, plus a Secret. You end up with 2/2/3 Secret Keepers on turn 2. Sure, they're powerhouses now in Secret decks, especially for Paladin. Okay, Shield Bearer does not have Rage anymore. Basically, he's conceivable as a 1-drop now. He's not like conceivable as a 2-drop. That was a much needed nerf. Having to silence a 1-drop was kind of insane. He'd still be played because he's ridiculous, but not that ridiculous anymore. Stormwind Champion. Again, tokens got nerfed a lot. The mana cost increase is more than you think. If they wanted to nerf Stormwind, it should be a 5/5 for 6. I agree Stormwind was too powerful. It had a huge impact on the metagame. It was being played in non-token decks for a couple of days. But now it costs 7, I don't think people will play it anymore. It's sad to see this one go. Okay, Blizzard, what were you thinking? Seriously, this card is broken. Like, why? Yeah. The old Pyromancer was basically Knife Juggler for spells. The new Pyromancer breaks Constructed. I mean, it stomps on token decks, it stomps on aggro decks, like, and priests can utilize this more than any other class easily. If you use Power World Shield or Holy Nova, if you use Holy Nova, you clear the board for 3 damage, and you heal the Pyromancer up again, and actually it says after, so you don't, but then you can heal it with your hero power. You could also use Circle of Healing. Yeah, Circle of Healing now does 1 damage. Things like that, it's ridiculous. The amount of combos you can pull off with this card is just stupid. Oh, if you hadn't got the vibe already, Constructed playable in every way. Young Priestess, 2-1 instead of a 1-2. They wanted to make it less resilient while making it still relevant. I like this change. Young Priestess was too powerful because of its health, not because of its attack. So yeah, it's now balanced and playable. Onto the class changes. Now, we've been complaining about Druid for a while now, and how they're even banned in tournaments. Like, you gotta make some differences here if they're banned in tournaments. But Bite Alright, at first glance this looks like it's worse. I mean, 4 mana, 4 attack, 4 armor. Oh wait, it's 3 mana. Yeah, that's the major thing here. They did not nerf Bite, they buffed Bite. It costs less to do the Savagery combo, it still does 4 damage instead of 6. Okay, and it comes out a turn earlier. And it gives you health. Healing Touch is now an obsolete card, because Bite gives you health for the same cost. Claw, buffed into Oblivion. 1 attack for 2 armor? Sure. Okay, I mean, yeah, sure, I'll take it. Force of Nature, directly nerfed to 6 mana from 5. It is now conceivable. Still ridiculously overpowered, but conceivable. You can still Savage Roar on turn 9. It's pretty good. Naturalize, why was this buffed? We did not need an Assassinate at 1 mana. I know your opponent draws 2 cards, but let's be honest here, if you're playing Druid, you're going to efficiency burn them so much anyway that the 2 cards don't matter. I don't know. I don't understand what they were doing with Druid. It's not a nerf from the spells, at least. Minions. Sure. Druid of the Claw. Got changed to +2 health and taunt. Now, charge is still as broken as it always was. They should have made it a 4-3 with +3 health and taunt. That would make it a 4-6 with taunt and a 4-3 with charge. A 4-4 with charge is ridiculous. This card is still as good as it always was, still play it. Oh, Druid changes, terrible by the way. Hunter, Explosive Shot. It's now comparable to Swipe, but not quite because it's only adjacent. It's playable now. Before it was just awful. Explosive Trap. Fully counters Force of Nature now, and it fully counters Swarm decks now, and it's really nice. Freezing Trap. Still not playable because you can still fodder things to it, but, and arguably you can exploit it. Like, I've done things like Suicide and Novice Engineer into a Freezing Trap and play it again for another card. Sure, it costs 2 more, but the epitome of this card is when you do it on a 9-drop and they can't play it again. But apart from that, still just a mediocre spell. Hate to say it. Alright, Darkspear Hunter was removed. Why? It was removed and replaced with Savannah Highmane? They don't even serve the same role. Like with the other remove things, they serve similar roles, but this doesn't. It's not even the same interaction. It's a completely different thing. They replaced a 2-drop with a 6-drop. And the 6-drop was only really good because of Darkspear. I mean, a 7-6 for 6 that's a beast was kind of crazy. But now they don't have Darkspear, so Hunters just went down to tier 2. Definitely from tier 1. That's a problem. Like, they were already struggling to keep in tier 1, and now without Darkspear Hunter they're in tier 2, really, definitely. They're not going to make it back up. Hyena is just what the Savannah Highmane summons when it dies. Summons 2. Decent ability. Starving Buzzard is now summoned instead of play. Now, everyone's imagining this. You attack Starving Buzzard, Snake Trap triggers. Before Starving Buzzard dies, you draw 3 cards. Sounds legit. It's even better than it was before, by the way, if you hadn't already gathered. Yeah, Hunter changes. I like some of them, I hate other ones. Mage. Mirror Entity now does what Vaporize used to do, but it copies instead of destroying. It's now much better because it's harder to fodder something to a Vaporize type effect instead of a Mirror Entity type effect, because you don't have the mana to play a small thing than your big thing until like turn 9 or 10. It's amazing now. Spellbender is ridiculous because it can hit buffs as well. You can accept Blessing of Kings, Power Overwhelming to intercept Shadow Flame. You can accept Shadow Flame and do 1 damage to him instead. This counters Warlock decks a lot now. And you can intercept Demon Fires, so instead of buffing the demon, it just kills... It doesn't even kill the Spellbender, it becomes a 1-1. It's amazing. It's just insane now. It's one of the compulsory secrets. Vaporize now does what Mirror Entity used to do. Vaporize is now terrible, Mirror Entity is now amazing. Vaporize was not very good to begin with. Next. Alright, actually, in all honesty, It's easier to control the board, kind of, but meh, I don't like it. I never liked types like this. On the plus side, it does say hero, which means if they want to fodder something to taunt, and the big thing is what they want to smash into you, they can't do that, so it saves you a bit of damage. Meh. Kirin Mage is now ridiculous. 4-3 for 3 with a stupid ability. Like, on Paladin that would do nothing, because secrets cost 1. On Mage they cost 3. That's a 3 mana advantage and it's above curve. Okay, play it now if you didn't already. Mana Worm is now a token killer. That's also kind of huge if you don't silence it. The problem with old Mana Worm is if you silenced it, it became useless, even against like 1/1s. So it's playable again, kinda. It's a really good 1-drop now. A 1-3 for 1 is pretty good. That's just Spellbender. They changed Spellbender. I like the mage changes. Vaporize I didn't really like as a secret much anyway. Mirror Entity I love as a secret, and they buffed everything. That was nice. Paladin. The only real change is a wording changed. Sword of Justice is summon instead of play, which means Paladin can summon 2/2s for 2 mana. And Imp Master now summons 2/2s, which is nice. Thank you, at least you get some buffed tokens, but Sword of Justice is still not worth the slot in token decks most of the time. I don't know, we'll see. They needed to buff tokens in some way without killing the archetype. Okay, Fade is now easier to get because it's basic. Mind Vision is now ridiculous. It doesn't steal the card for 6. It just costs 1 and you get a copy. I've stolen huge things off this thing. Like anything, like a Youthful Brewmaster, if you're not playing it, you can use it on a Crazed Alchemist again to use it again. A Prophet Villain is insane to hit, a Ragnaros is insane to hit, things like that. Just massive things you can hit, or even small things. You pay 1 mana to get something that your opponent had, which means it's not just that you get the thing, this becomes an image of what your opponent had, and you gain knowledge of what your opponent had. That's the important thing. It's an amazing card now. Prayer of Fortitude replaced with Inner Fire. Prayer of Fortitude was terrible because of Power of the Wild. Inner Fire is awesome. Huge combos, love it. Next. Mental Collapse replaced with Lightspawn. Mental Collapse was not good, Lightspawn is also not good. Why? Because if you silence it, it becomes a 0/4. And if you Crazed Alchemist it, it becomes a 0/0. Because you flip it and its health becomes 0, so its attack becomes 0 and it just dies. And it also becomes weaker by damaging it. It's just not good. It's a joke, really. This is not a joke, however. Penance was good. Like really good, replaced with Temple Enforcer, one of the strongest 6-drops in the game. Sure, it can be silenced, but you're really going to silence a battle cry from a 5/6 for 6 anyway? Okay, it's really good. Play it in your priest decks. I like the priest changes. They make them tier 2 probably now. Rogue. Betrayal used to cost 0, then it cost 3, now it costs 2. Blizzard, make your mind up. And actually, in all honesty, I think it's ideally costed at 1.5. Blade Flurry. It's now on par with Savagery, because you get to do the damage first, and then everything else. The problem before is that you'd think, oh, just attack them and then Blade Flurry, but sometimes you didn't have the durability on the weapon to do that. So you still didn't work. Blade Flurry is now really good. Conceal got nerfed. I don't understand why. I don't really. Rogue was in lower tier 2 to tier 3 anyway, so I don't even understand why nerf something. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe the new buffs are insane, but I don't really see it. Fan of Knives is now more reliable and cycles a card. Next. Earth Shock. Silence a minion, then do 1 damage. That's how it worked before, but the wording was unclear, so people thought it was in a certain sequence, but no, it's in the better sequence. Silence means you get rid of Divine Shield and all the buffs and everything before you kill it, like Blood Mage Thanos, things like that. Alright, this is something we knew about. Mana Spring Totem replaced with Farsight. They served the same role, basically, to mitigate overload. One of them was incredibly bad and fragile and stupid in combo decks, and the other one is really nice. Next. Shaman changes, who cares? Rogue changes, pretty nice.
Storm, earth, and fire, heed my call.
Now, onto Warlock. Demon Fire. Only picks friendly minions now. Thank you. Warlock mirrors was stupid. Not even close. It's just like, oh, I could buff that, or buff this, or buff that, or... Oh, I can... No, I can't kill that either. What? Nah. +2/+2. Giving to an opponent minion was dumb. Thank you for fixing this. Now all you need to do is fix Sacrificial Pact, killing Lord Jaraxxus, and then I'm happy. Next, Dread Infernal is now not playable. It wasn't playable before because it was a 5/5/6 with a stupid ability. Now it's a 6/6/6 with a stupid ability. Okay, good for you. Flame Imp is now conceivable. It doesn't have stealth anymore, thank you. It's no longer a stupid 3/2 with stealth. The drawback was not a drawback. Like, you take 2 damage, your opponent always took 3. Now they don't always take 3. Alright. Summoning Portal nerf, thank you. This thing was stupid. Now that it's 4 mana makes it a lot worse, which is something needed, because when I first looked at this card I was like, oh, it's Pint-Sized Summoner. Wait, what? It applies to everything? Yeah, Summoning Portal, kind of stupid. So, yeah, and then we go on to the warrior changes. Warlock is okay. I like the nerfs. Now they just need to nerf Shadow Flame and Molten Giant interactions. Commanding Shout now costs 1 instead of 2. Still terrible. Don't even play it. It's useless. Death's Wish replaced with Shield Slam. Death's Wish took all your armor and made it into attack for the turn. Shield Slam 100 times better. But removing Death's Wish is still dumb. So yeah. Armor Smith is better now because it's worse to silence, but it gives you more armor. So that's nice. Yeah, it's really nice now. Warrior is still not playable. I mean, I don't like the warrior changes and fix anything really. So we give an overview of where all the classes are now after the changes. Druid, still top tier, probably still banned. Hunter, tier 2 now instead of tier 1.5 roughly. Mage is into tier 2, which is nice. Paladin dropped out of tier 1, not because of the card changes, but because of the token nerfs. It's still roughly there, it's kind of meh. Priest is now a playable class that does decently. Rogue, still not really that good. Shaman, still tier 1. Will always be tier 1 until they nerf something. Warlock is no longer kill everything without any penalty. It's now kill everything with a couple of mana. Warrior, worst class in the game. Calling it now. Just worse. There's nothing good about Warrior. It's awful. I don't understand Warrior. What they need to fix it somehow. I don't expect any Warriors to make it into top 8 this Saturday. I'm expecting double Shaman finals with some Priest, Warlock, and Paladin. That's what I'm expecting. I don't think Rogue can make it. I don't think Mage can make it. I don't think Warrior can make it. And Druid being banned means that they can't make it. So yeah, and Hunter, they're not as reliable as they used to be, so it just kind of meh. We might see one in top 8, that'd be nice. Anyway, this has been Jotto with the first patch notes video. Tell me what you think in the comment section below, and I am signing off.